Afternoon. Afternoon, folks. Hope you are well. Welcome to the Friday scan. How's everybody's trading been going this week? Mine has been very quiet. There's times like this I wish trading was kind of like, when you're back testing, you can just fast forward through all the candles. Sometimes in weeks like this, I think, wow, I wish I could just bloody fast forward through everything because it's how boring it's been. I thought it was going to be a bit better this week, considering what we had the week before. But sometimes this is the market. I think sometimes it's better to keep your powder dry rather than wasting it on John, as you said. Oh, I just put my card there. By mistakes, and forcing trades that probably shouldn't be taken. But it's never a loss. It's always a lesson, right? So the GJ competition, funny, is by and far the winner here, guessing 153.45, which is only 45 pips away from where it is at now. I think most of us, including myself, thought it would be maybe moving up or roughly a little bit higher than it was. So Fonny, who is he's actually an RTFX member. I'm not sure if he's on the stream right now. Well done, you won $50. So can use that as your monthly, well, it's only $29.99 monthly at RTFX, but you can use it as your monthly subscription to RT Forex if you want, or a beer or a few beers, 1 or 2 beers. How many beers will that get you? A couple of beers on me for the weekend. So well done, Fonny. The fourth winner, is it the fourth? 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth winner of the $50 giveaway competition. So well done, Fonny. If you are interested in free shit, we do give away, as well, if you are a trader, we do give away a 50K monthly FTMO challenge to RTFX members. We haven't managed to give it away for the past 3 months, simply because we're a new platform and we don't have any members. No, we don't have any members. We don't have many members right now because we are growing. But I want to give these away, so if you feel like you are ready, we have the website here with all our live streams. We're starting 4 live streams a day from next week. Our mentors, we'll have 3 mentors now, all with a combined 20 years experience trading the markets. Got a Discord as well, that's in the chat there as well. So if you're interested in that, the link is down below or in the chat. Anyway, well done, Fonny. Let's get into the market, shall we? Now all that's done, all my salesman side is done. Let's get into the markets. So NFP today coming out in about 3.5 hours. I believe if I get the numbers up here, I believe they're expecting around 450. Friday, here we go. If you can see that, guys. Excuse me. Where is it? Friday. Here we go. NFP today. If you don't know what NFP is, it is the amount of jobs added to the U.S. economy minus the agricultural sector. It's a good indication for the health of the U.S. economy. We do have unemployment rate coming out today as well. So it's a big Friday. Now, maybe this is what the market's been waiting for over the past week. We do have CAD unemployment as well, by the way, if you are in any CAD trades. But this is what I think will be moving the market. Maybe it'll be a non-event. I'm not going to go into what I think because that is really gambling. It's a red or black scenario. I'm not going to go here and say, oh, well, I think this is going to happen because nobody essentially knows. Well, maybe some people in the market knows, but yeah, us as lowly retail traders, we don't know what's going to happen today. I always recommend not being in the market over news, certainly not over NFP and unemployment data. Spreads go up, volatility happens, you can just get stopped out very quickly. I don't know anyone personally that trades news effectively over the long run. So over years and years, I just don't think that's a valid strategy, to be honest with you. I stay out, wait for the market's reaction, and then go from there. Julianne, how are you? Good morning. Hope you are well. Thanks for joining. So that is coming out at 4:30 today. So just be aware of that. It is a Friday as well. I am currently in one position. So I'm in Ethereum long still, if I go here, which I took on, I think it was Tuesday I took this trade, I believe. Yeah, Tuesday on this 4-hour chart. So if I show you the setup, we've already banked half an hour on it. If I show you the setup here, obviously we were on a decent uptrend with Ethereum. Okay, so we were moving, we weren't extended, we weren't climactic or anything. This was a nice, healthy uptrending market on the altcoins, on Ethereum. For me, context was great there. So higher time frame confluence, which you guys know I'm very big on, was certainly there on Ethereum. Now the setup came on this 4-hour chart where we had a impulse to the upside here, a nice corrective, but within that corrective was my favorite A, B, C. It's actually an ABC 1-2, you could call it, an ABC 1-2. Complex corrective here. Favorite breaks, as with my oil trade before, was in breaks of B wave. So this is a B wave here. We got our setup on account of this head and shoulders. 20 period close by. Good bullish bar here, if you notice, just prior to the level. This is something I always like to see. A good bullish bar that has not broken the level on that 20 period. That for me was enough to get me into that trade. You can see here, B wave. This is where we're looking at a breakout from. So I put my order in. I actually wanted a little bit more accumulation, but there was enough there. We did get 4 hours after that bar. Again, perfect. Exactly what I want to see before a breakthrough. Now, I did take away my TP1 because normally I put TP1 around 1-to-1 risk reward, or well, on every trade, 1-to-1 risk reward. Stop was down here. But I took it off because of the strength of the break. And it did go well. Asian session, it did have a little bit of movement upwise to the upside. But we got a bit of stalling action on this 4 hour. So I was perfectly happy taking profits basically at 1-to-1 there. And now waiting for that swing for potential continuation to the upside. So this is where I think a little bit of experience probably comes in. And also the use of this golden 20 period. Right? My golden 20 period, a very simple tactic that certainly helps out with trend continuation. Because we did get a pullback and we got a valid anchor here. 2 bars either side, higher, so that is a valid anchor. I just didn't think that was enough to move my stop at that point in time. And it turned out to be, not all the time, but it turned out to be quite a good call. At the moment, we did come down and get, it's not technically an ABC because we broken, but it is a complex corrective. Again, roughly back to that 20. Had this rejection bar, and now potentially we are moving to the upside. Potentially not confirmed yet. So I was happy moving my second trade to break even for hopefully Ethereum moving to the upside again. So started off my 200K challenge with at least a 1% trade. So you can see here I banked 202, currently at equity, but this doesn't really matter, 2035. But I've certainly banked $2,000 on that trade and gets my FTMO, albeit on a quiet week, off to a winning start. So Ethereum, it's still in there. And now I'm just sitting on my bum, waiting for hopefully another push, swing, and continue to move those stops to the upside. So a little bit, I'm on an okay run. Oil was a winner, albeit only a half an hour. This is a winner, albeit it could only be half an hour. But at the end of the day, we're still just adding those percentages onto our equity, onto our account, and building up that account slowly, which is what we should do. I'm not here to try and flip accounts 100% in a week, because I don't think you'll be in the market very long if you try to do that. So my stance is always just, you know, take a little percent here and there, keep going, go for the home run, but take a single. Anyway. So SPX, let's have a look at the market. I think SPX is easy to analyze today. It's pushing on, it's risk on. I'm not going to go into that too much. You know, still the idea of selling those yen crosses. I know the dailies are a bit extended. I know the yen has got a relative bit of strength recently, but it's still risk on. So I would still look at entries selling that yen as I can see it coming off. Certainly if we get decent news out today. But the dollar is interesting. Okay, this dollar I was talking about yesterday. So there was a few people that thought dollar downside. I kind of looked at the technicals from this section here, which for a while it's been quite difficult to analyze. But we did get our complex corrective from this big push to the upside. So when I saw this, I had that sneaky suspicion that dollar wanted to move to the upside. And that's exactly what it did. It had a nice push on for the past 16 hours. Few bars here of accumulation, potentially prior to a break up, which it looks to be having now, to the upside. NFP will affect the dollar. Unemployment rate will affect the dollar. However, from a technical standpoint, your bias still has to be to the upside. Okay, we consider this a larger complex corrective. our catalyst at C wave here, a few bars in between that catalyst digesting that move before a nice day yesterday. So this was a good day yesterday. So albeit whatever is happening from a fundamental side of things, the dollar looks bullish. And post-COVID, you'd expect stocks to rise, dollar to fall. Okay, pre-COVID, stocks rise, dollar rises. But at the moment, as I said, okay, yes, NFP could change the sentiment here. I'm just going with what I see on the chart, and I fancy dollar to continue longs, and that has to be that until it says otherwise. So, yeah, dollar looks okay to the upside. Watch this today. UK 100 is gone. Bitcoin is something I am looking at. Bitcoin I quite like. It's starting to set up quite nicely now. See our larger head and shoulders here on the 4-hour chart. But my setup is coming specifically at this region here. So if we consider this our basing cup structure, got our tag on the level, came into a nice corrective now, digesting this basing structure. Again, you think about our 30 to 50% rule, we're kind of almost there. We've got our outside bullish engulfing here on the 4-hour. So what I'm looking for with Bitcoin is this, essentially. Probably cup with handle, within a cup with handle, take Bitcoin to the upside. I like where it is on the daily. We're taking that breakout again from this daily complex. So daily complex here, ABC, turning into a slight head and shoulders, you can see, but a break of essentially B wave on this daily. Going with that trend, this impulse is now kind of sorted itself out, corrected enough for me to consider potential continuation to the upside. So yeah, Bitcoin looks, I like it. It's a trade that I want to get involved in. I do like it. I like price action now. I like where we're taking the breakout. I like this outside bullish engulfer. It's not an aggressive early entry because there's no volume coming on it. But yeah, something like this for Bitcoin potentially over the weekend, maybe on Monday, is something I would certainly take. And I like that. I like that. Litecoin is another. I've got a few cryptos on my watch list here. Litecoin, I like where the daily is. You can see this basing structure here on the daily. We are above these moving averages now. 20 period crossed over the 200. It just looks ready or to be in a position where it could move. We will have some reaction roughly around there, but there's a lot of clear air here if it does get past that. And if altcoin wants to have a season, pushing up, I like that. Again, I like the idea of Litecoin as well to the upside. So with this, we need our setup. We've got our basing structure, tagged these highs already, looking for that 30 to 50% rule. So we need a bit more accumulation, bit more of a basing structure here in order to get into the upside on Litecoin. I can't force it. I'm not going to take it if it doesn't set up for me, but it's something I certainly want to be involved in. So these cryptos, certainly the altcoins, look to be in a position where maybe they could have a run, Maybe they could have a run. Bitcoin has had its run. You could say Ethereum's had a decent run as well, but things like Litecoin, Dash, and maybe some of the other altcoins could be in a decent position, Could be in a decent position. So I like that. I like that. And the final one I have today, let me know if you guys want me to look at any charts, because as I said, it's been a very quiet week for me. But if I take 2% on the week, depending on what Ethereum does, I'm perfectly happy with that. Perfectly happy with that. So silver is the final one on this daily chart. Doing very similar to what we want. There is an aggressive entry here. I've taken notes on this aggressive entry on silver. With the idea being, again, this is not a strategy that I'm employing, but it's something that I'm trying to develop, with the idea being this on AJ. So if you look at AJ here on the 4-hour chart, with our aggressive entry being, I'll take this off. There we go. Oop. There we go. On this, roughly around this candle here. So this is the premise of the strategy, coming on higher volume. I know you can say, right, it's a pullback entry, but it involves higher time frame confluence as well. So that is the premise of my aggressive entry strategy, because I didn't get in on this break. This break just wasn't quite enough for me to get in on. But if you'd gotten in on this particular candle as that aggressive entry, this is what you're looking for. So yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking with silver. It's not confirmed yet, but I'm just taking data because I don't know whether it actually works or not. So I'm looking for my personal setup to risk actual money is something like this to get involved in this. 200 coming down. So the breakout is above that 200. Very simple stuff. It's a nice area in the chart at that downtrending anchor. Okay, so we're looking to basically change trend here from a downtrend to an uptrend by breaking through structure here. So very simple stuff. Very simple stuff. John, I haven't traded cryptos before. Pros and cons. Well, the pros is they can move very well. The cons is they're quite volatile. So you think about the Bitcoin trade I had. When did I have Bitcoin trade? Maybe it was, last month. It was last month somewhere. And we got stopped out on volatility, which you sometimes get in crypto. I guess that's the biggest con with it. But the pro probably outweighs it. So if you get a good entry in on these cryptos, you can really see price move. So I don't trade the tiny coins, right? The meme coins or anything like that. I trade Ripple, Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Dash. Those are the 5 that I stick to. I feel like they're a little bit more mature in the market. And certainly if you get on in a nice area, you can make a lot of money from them. So I think very similar to the exotics. I mean, you guys know I like the exotics, the USARs, the USEX, the UNOX. They kind of move kind of similar to that, where you can catch on to a lot of profits if they do move. So, I mean, I like it. Yeah, I like it. For me, it's just a setup, isn't it? So this is just nice. This market is maturing, okay? So it's not as volatile as it was, and it's kind of sticking a bit more to traditional technical analysis than it has in previous years. And, you know, I've got to take that. I've got to take that if it sets up to be a part on decent trends to the upside. But it is volatile. Gareth Van Dyke, how you doing, buddy? Good morning. Aussie dollar sell. Aussie dollar sell. What is people thinking today for NFP, by the way? Are you expecting positivity, expecting negativity? What are you thinking for the dollar? Let me know. It's just a game of opinions, isn't it? Just a game of opinions. Aussie dollar, I wouldn't be selling it now, Gareth, just simply because of where it is. I do like it to the downside. We got to remember, even though this is looking pretty bearish, we still have come from this nice movement to the upside. So it could be this. Although I don't think that is as likely. And the reason why is I'll show you this on Aussie New Zealand. So if you think about this pullback, okay? Let's look at this pullback and let's compare this to Aussie New Zealand. Because this is something I was looking at before. So look at this pullback from this impulse. It's quite severe, okay? So market tried to push up, but ultimately failed. Okay, so we have to be aware of pullbacks that look like this. So I never take retests or pullback that look like this because it puts a little bit of doubt in my mind whether buyers can come in and sustain this upward trend continuation environment. That's actually not a bad retest. Look at that. That's not a bad retest. That was almost a setup, actually. Yeah, that's actually quite a nice ABC. Look at that. I mean, it's not perfect, but that's the kind of retest that I'm looking for. So you got A, B. I know I'm going off topic a little bit. This isn't great. This particular bar, if that wasn't there and it was maybe a bit smaller, but you've got pullback back to that 20, a good bearish sign there, and a bearish sign on high volume. So that's not bad. Again, it's not, my context's not there, so I couldn't take it, but that's not a bad retest. So what I was saying, who was I talking to about, who asked me about Aussie dollar? Gareth, was just be aware of pullbacks that happen like this, because sometimes you can get that kind of S function because the momentum is stalling from this decent bearish move. So if we look at Aussie dollar on the daily, you're kind of getting something similar. So I would be more, you could get the same as New Zealand, by the way, where it could go like this. Buyers try and push it up because you've probably got trend continuation buyers maybe coming in now. Ultimately, are failing in that attempt to push it, and we end up going back down. Now, the other option is, with these decent impulses like this, if this turns into a complex and you get a catalyst here that says, I want to move to the upside, that's good. Okay, because that slight difference in price action where if you get your complex that digests this move here, then that's okay. But if you got it like AUD, NZD, where it's a little bit loss of momentum-y, let's say, as the easiest way to say it, then yeah, you could see some movement to the downside. Now, as a trading-wise for Aussie dollar, I presume you're thinking now, you've just got to be aware of where it is on the chart. Okay, you're expecting a reaction around that 200. Okay, is the probably the most powerful area of dynamic support or resistance to price. So moving averages have dynamic support and resistance. Okay, so you can see the reaction that you're getting quite a lot of times off this 200, and you're probably expecting that again. So yeah, maybe if you get something like this, then movement to the downside. I know NFP will affect this pair specifically, but I wouldn't be selling it now. I would be locking in profits if you're in profit. That's, I mean, that 30 minutes is actually not bad. But you've got to have that higher time frame confluence, and I don't think that's quite there yet, albeit this is okay. So I would rather be selling it, but I wouldn't be selling it now. That's what I would say with Aussie dollar. Sparks Red, CAD Swiss. CAD Swiss. CAD Swiss, my least favorite. I'm not very good at giving CAD Swiss advice, I wouldn't say. I actually thought this would look quite good for moving to the upside, but I was completely wrong with that. And CAD Swiss. I mean, CAD Swiss, you've kind of got to be looking downside action now. This is what we're seeing on the charts, albeit it's risk on. Oil's coming off a little bit, which negatively affects the CAD. But we've closed underneath this 200. We look at the 4 hour. 4 hour looks to be retesting this area, right? So if you get a reason to enter, i.e. if the market gives you a reason to enter, very much like this, very much like this, very much like this, there you go. Even there, evening star. Then, yeah, movement to the downside, ideally on high volume, roughly around here, around that 20 would make sense. So CAD Swiss, yeah, I mean, you have to look downside action, right? You have to be looking downside. But again, I don't think there's a reason to enter there just yet. But there could be around this area, around this 20. Volume, bye-bye, go to the downside. Thank you. I think, anyway. But with the CAD Swiss, I could be completely wrong. Completely wrong. Funny, is that you? Funny. That's not your last name. Sompredis. Are you the Fonny, that one? I'm sure your last name is different. But anyway, if you're the Fonny, let me know, because you've won $50. Lamb, how you doing, mate? Ryan, pound Swiss, more downside. Pound Swiss. Pound Swiss. Swiss is strong, huh? Swiss has been strong. So I mean, yeah, more downside. I wouldn't be selling it here, but it seems to be. Pound is weak. Ooh, sorry. Pound is weak, right? So, I mean, you kind of got an indication there it might want to move. It's just on these smaller time frames, again, I always talk about digestion. It could be enough. It could certainly, when pound is weak, it could certainly move to the downside. But, you know, it's just a shame. There was a setup there I was looking at. Didn't get in on that. That was a nice corrective. I mean, there was probably your entry. But if you think how far it's moved, maybe you need this before continuation to the downside. So yeah, I think bias has to be to the downside. I mean, it has to be. But whether you sell it right now, it would have to. I wouldn't be selling it right now. Could it go down? Yeah, but I just couldn't bring myself to sell it. But I do think the bias is to the downside. And could it go to the downside? Absolutely. You could certainly, from this bar here, move to the downside. Absolutely, you could. Okay. But yeah, maybe. I don't know if that answers your question, Lam, but that's what I probably think. Yeah. Are you in it, Lam? Are you in? If you're in the trade, right? Let's say you sold it here, you should be locking in profits. I think, depending if you're in if you're in a 4 hour, you should be locking in profits here, waiting for that swing. My personal opinion, continuation to the downside. All right, let's lock in some more profits and let it go as much as it wants to go. That's what I would say. So I don't know whether you're in it or in it or not. John Backhouse, thanks for the pullback warning. We learned something, Val. No problem, mate. No problem. So yeah, that's what I would say with pound Swiss. And I think that's it, right? Nothing really much else to discuss. If you like the stream, make sure you like the stream. We'll be doing another $50 monthly competition on Monday. Yeah, so if I can grow this a bit more, I'll start giving away more money. So you guys can help me out by liking the stream, gets me grow the channel, and hopefully I can start giving away more money. That's something I quite like doing. I don't think many streamers online do that, to be honest, but yeah, I quite enjoy that. But I'm going to try and win. I'm going to try and win next week. Maybe we go back to the index. Maybe we do something like that, or maybe do the DAX. The DAX might be a good one to do on Monday. But yeah. Hey, Allah, you're kind of joining at the end of the stream, to be honest. So let me know, guys, if there's anything else you want me to look at, any questions you have, any questions for me on a Friday. My girlfriend's off on a yacht, and I stayed here with you lovely people because I quite enjoy doing it. So if you've got any questions, let me know. If you're interested in taking our 7 days, the link is down below. And I think that's it, right? And like the stream. Give me the 15. Go on, give me the 15 likes, and that'll make my Friday. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. I always appreciate it. Explain different ABC. Explain different ABC. What do you mean by different ABC? Do you mean, what do you mean, John? Different ABC. Low, high C. Low and high C. Oh, so you're talking about an ABC or an AB shallow C. So essentially, the AB shallow C, which I don't think is as common. I wish it was my yacht, Gareth. So in Dubai here, obviously you can rent out yachts. So it's somebody's birthday. So they always rent out yachts and then go and take your booze and because the weather's so nice, right? So they all go out and anyway, yeah, I wish maybe one day, Gareth, maybe one day, but not right now. I think they're a waste of money. I remember my dad always used to tell me buying a boat. So he used to have a small fishing boat when we were kids. And he said buying a boat was just like taking a bunch of money and throwing it in the ocean. You know, you think about you got fees, parking fees, and all that. I mean, I love the idea of it. I love the idea of having a boat. I like fishing. I love fishing, but yeah, that's what my dad always used to say. Owning a boat is like throwing money into the ocean. Discord link doesn't seem to be valid. Oh, apologies, guys. Let me try this again then. Let me try this here. See if that one works. Okay, ABC. Sorry, let's go into ABC. So there's two types of ABC. And ABC is essentially a complex pullback. So within our pullbacks, obviously healthy trends, push, pullback, okay? Within these pullbacks, you can get varied types. So you can get a single leg pullback, okay, which goes, or you can get a multi-leg pullback, which comes in the form of ABC, or if it goes bigger, it kind of goes into a channel move on. Okay, so you got within that ABC, which is essentially A, B, C, okay? B wave cannot breach the highs here. Okay, so we've got A, B, C, and push to the upside. The reason why I like it is it's all to do with Dow theory. Okay, so Dow theory being higher highs and higher lows. Actually, I'll get paint up here. That's probably easier. So Dow theory being higher highs and higher lows. This is an uptrend. Okay, so higher highs, higher lows, uptrend, okay? And vice versa for a downtrend. What was I just lost my chain of thought. But within Dow theory, we have three types of trend, okay? The primary trend, the secondary trend, and the tertiary trend, okay? So if we are in an uptrending market, this is our primary trend. So if we go from the daily or whatever, if we've had higher highs and higher highs, this is our primary trend. Our secondary trend is essentially our pullbacks within the primary trend. And our tertiary trend is the volatility within that secondary trend within the primary trend. Okay, so that's essentially what Dow theory is. Now, why I like the ABC is because we get people incorrectly identifying this B wave, high or low, as a change in trend, okay, rather than a secondary trend within this primary trend. Okay, so what happens is, if we have, let's put names in it, John. If we have John coming in at this section here, right, market starts to move down. John thinks, okay, we've changed trend, we've not breached these highs, we've changed trend, I'm going to take a sell order here, okay, stop loss somewhere roughly around there. Okay, so the market starts to move down. Before John, we had the individuals, let's say, who else is in here? Gareth. We had Gareth coming in at this section here thinking this pullback is a single leg pullback, right? And we're going to start to move up and breach these highs and continue with this larger trend. Okay, so we've got Gareth in here. The likelihood is retail Gareth has got a stop loss at this section, right? So we've got a lot of retail stops here. We've got a lot of retail stops here. When this starts to move down, firstly, Gareth is thinking, shit, okay, what's happening here? We've not breached these highs. It's starting to fall down. I'm going to get a little bit panicky and possibly start exiting out of my position. Okay, so maybe they start exiting. Price comes down. It then takes out this stop. So a lot of retail stops at A wave. I know this is getting a bit complicated, but a lot of retail stops at A wave. Takes them out. Okay, so now John is happy. John is happy because it's starting to move down. But this is now at the stage where it's maybe correcting properly, 40, 60 box, 20 period moving averages, and the buyers from these primary trends start coming in. Okay, so that is where we create C waves. So we've got Gareth stopped out and we start pushing on. What then happens is now John is getting worried because he thinks this is a higher low and it's starting to push back up again. Okay, so he starts exiting out positions. We've got a lot of retail stops here at B wave. Once we push through, it normally gets a decent reaction from that B wave, and that's where the complex corrective comes in. Now, adding to this, so that's essentially the premise of it. But if we add it to it, the reason why sometimes trends don't go from pullback single leg to multi-leg, there's a few things that you can use to help you. Firstly, you can use Fibonacci. Okay, so you can look at that 40, 60 box. Secondly, you can use the golden, I think is the golden 20 period, where we're looking at pullbacks. So if we've got a 20 period down here, and we've got a single leg pullback, and this starts to push up, that's a bit too extended for me to move to the upside. So I use that 20 period to get me into trends at the right time. So if I see a massive extension, and this comes back down, and I see, let's say we've come from here, okay, and we have this amount of corrective. This is why I always talk about digestive period. That for me is not enough to digest this move, right? So we may also have this 20 period down here. So this gap is far too much for me for taking longs and thinking this is going to be a single leg pullback. Okay, so we push on, and that's why I don't often trust these pushes, because again, we've got that extension and we've not digested enough, which is why these pushes often result in another leg to this pullback where that 20 period can catch up and possibly go back into that 40-60 box. Okay, so maybe this single leg hasn't even touched probably only touched the 23 or whatever it is, right, which is not enough for me. So in terms of entries, okay, what you can also use to your advantage for a pullback, let's say the ABC, is firstly use that Fibonacci, okay, so within that box. Secondly, use that 20 period. And thirdly, and also a very good indicator, is using volume. So we're looking at volume coming in somewhere around here that says the institutions are coming back on board for this to trend continuation to the upside. And fourthly, what also you can add into that is your simple chart patterns, your hammers, right? Your hammers, your morning stars, or your engulfers that says to you, this wants to move up, right? So we're always looking for that reason to enter. And then you've got multiple confluences there with a pullback, let's say it's an ABC, with your healthy digestive period from this move, with your healthy corrective from this move, with your 20 period, with your catalyst, which could be an engulfer, and with your volume. So that's the essence of a kind of a complex pullback or the ABC. The best thing about the ABC is not only do we have all these things, but we have also got retail. And remember, 95% of retail lose money. We've got retail getting stopped out. And that's why you see a lot of decent moves from this B wave. But adding to that, we don't just want to take B wave breaks that go from deep. We still want a little pattern here, very similar to what we saw on Ethereum and oil, to get us into this section where you do get that decent spike to the upside. So that's the best thing I can probably say about pullbacks is, you know, last week I was talking about you need to let these moves digest. And if we look at any yen pair, let's say Aussie yen here. Right, at this point in time, see, this is not really an ABC, but at this point in time it was pushing up. Notice how that momentum stalled a little bit. Now, again, this is not an ABC, but what I'm talking about is we've come from here. And do you really think that that's going to move the exact same way from essentially this pullback, 2 days of pullback? You know, not really. And if I give you another great example, if we show Bitcoin here, this is part of a kind of longer thing, but if we add into the impulse, loss of momentum, and then the harder reset, ABC, you're kind of getting good entries in it as well. Billy explain. Oh, thanks, John, mate. I appreciate that. So yeah, if we go into Ethereum, let's just go into Ethereum just before I get off here. That's essentially where we were looking at. So look, we've got an ABC. You do sometimes get an ABC 1-2. So ABC 1-2 push. So there's actually a few different entries. You know, there's entries here at B wave, obviously. There's entries on breaks of highs, but there's also entries, aggressive entries, which I take at C wave, and there's also entries in here. So there's various different entries you can take on this ABC. But this is where we're looking at. So we've not got a break on B wave just from here. We've got that little reload, creating our context of head and shoulders, and we're pushing through. So that is irrespective of what happens now. It doesn't really matter what happens now, because you do this 100 times, it will work quite well over 100 times. You know, for example, oil. Let's look at oil, the last trade we took. And then I'll be off. And then I'll be off. But if you look at oil here, that's not oil. So if we look at oil, I think I took this on the 4 hour. Did I take it on the 4 hour? No, what trade did I take? It wasn't oil, was it? What was the last trade that I took? I can't even remember now. Ryan's trades. Let me get it here. What was the last one I took? UK 100. Sorry, it wasn't oil. It was UK 100. Excuse me. So it was UK 100. UK. Also, someone asked me about oil the other day. Again, you're getting the same kind of thing. You know, I did say it looked quite good, but look at the movement we've come on. We pushed through. Just doesn't seem enough there, right? And that's again very similar to AJ. This is sometimes what you can get. So using that higher time frame confluence is really key. And UK 100. Okay, here we go. I knew that. By the way, I knew this was going to come back up. I knew this was going to come back up. But UK 100 was a break from this B wave here, I believe, right? Okay, so we got our ABC, and then we had a push on. Oh, excuse me. Push on from B wave. This is B wave. Push up here, another reload, creating roughly that head and shoulders. Nice bit of accumulation here, and then a decent reaction off B wave. I know we came down and got a break-even trade here, but that's the kind of reactions you do get. And again, you don't have to use the 4 hour chart. You can get your context here. Let's say you're getting this context and you move down to the 30-minute chart or whatever it is, 15-minute chart. Okay, looking for entries into that break. Okay, you kind of potentially, oh, for fuck's sake, getting something in there. I mean, you could take, where could you take that? Maybe a break above here. You could take that maybe on the pullback here, potentially. You know, so you could use the context, if you like trading the smaller time frames, to get you into trades. You know, potentially a breakout retest on this smaller time frames. And look, you've potentially got an ABC here as well. Entry catalyst in there for movement to the upside. So it's a really powerful pattern that that works quite well over a long period of time. But I tell you what, when I took this UK and we got stopped out at break even, so this was a 0.5 hour trade, I knew this was coming back up. I just knew it, but it's a good thing I did move it, because this would have stopped me out and I would have got a basically zero trade. And you know, that just sometimes happens in trading. But UK 100, I had that on my list today. I had that on my list from here, but I don't think it's set up, did it? Let's have a look. 4 hour. Yeah, and here, look again. Again, look at this. Look where it's gone from. If you want to consider that, what do we consider there? I mean, it's not the nicest ABC. Look where the reactions come from. Boom, move to the upside. I mean, fair enough, you got all this volatility, but essentially that's where the move's gone from. So that's your V trade. Yeah, the V reversal. The V reversal. You can get that kind of entry on a V reversal. So if we get our V here, let's say this is our support area, and I can only take a breakout in the 4 hour, right? So if I get this ABC, there is an entry here. There is an early entry here if you get like this, okay? So it's all about this section with our VREV. Ideally, this comes with trend, because I always like to see V reversals that go against the primary trend, because that to me is a classic stop hunt. Okay, so if we're coming to the upside and we've got price action like this, get your V reversal, no doubt there's a whole bunch of stops here getting taken out and trend continues to the upside. Because this is my opinion, I've got to say this for YouTube, but manipulation happens in the market. You cannot tell me it doesn't. For sure it does. So we're trying to get context like this V reversal, etc., and waiting for great entries and breakouts that get us out of those fake out trades. So yeah, you can use it anywhere. You know, V reversal, you can use the ABC anywhere, but you're looking at those kind of breaks. But it's very powerful. Hey Gilbert, Euro NOK. Okay, let's do Euro. I don't think I have Euro NOK actually. Euro NOK, I can bring it up on Trading View. Trading View. Remember guys, like the stream. It would be lovely. If I can get to 20 likes, that would be amazing. Euro NOK. I should probably get Euro NOK on my chart. I like NOK. Euro NOK 1 hour chart, which I presume you're looking to the upside. Actually, this is okay. Look at this. That's okay. Breakout from that zone. You've got your cut with handle there. Back to that 20. What's the 4 hour looking like? 4 hour push. Break from there. Yeah, I mean, that looks okay. 4 hour looks okay. It's movement. You're broken through 200. As I said, I presume you're looking long. The daily is in pullback mode, but how do I get rid of this on Trading View? I don't even know. Daily is in pullback mode, but you've had a decent bar there. That could signal a shift in momentum, because going from this pullback, so that looks like a nice pullback, and that, again, shifts your momentum a little bit to, well, maybe this is not pullback continuation. Maybe this is change in trend and move to the upside. So it looks quite nice on the hourly. I would be a little bit wary of it on the 4 hour. I don't know how to stop doing this with my Trading View. I don't know. It still looks, I mean, yeah, that looks good. Looks good, Gilbert. It looks quite good. Euro NOK. Again, it's hard for me to analyze Trading View because I simply don't use it. But from just glancing at that chart, looks all right. CAD yen. CAD yen. Okay, we'll do CAD yen, Sohail. We'll do CAD yen. How's everybody's trading going, by the way? Have you been making money this week? I know, John, had a few mistakes, but it happens to the best of us. CAD yen. CAD yen. I mean, CAD yen could turn into that complex, right? It could turn into that. That's quite bearish. There's a bearish bar yesterday with the yen getting a little bit of strength. If you look on the 4 hour, you have to remember with this trade, you are counter trend, right? So remember, with all these yen pairs, you are still counter trend, albeit they're getting some strength. Looks to be some possible price acceptance underneath this area. 20 period is catching over. So very similar to CAD Swiss. If you get a reason to enter on this 20 on a bit of volume, which you may get on the news potentially, then yeah, I would agree with the bias of moving to the downside. But again, it still would be counter trend. But as a counter trend trade, considering this is our latest impulse, you got some movement there that could potentially come back to, you know. So yeah, and you've got a little bit of confidence if you're looking short that this big bearish bar is giving you your confidence that you need to taking a short trade there as long as it sets up. You know, and so is this. Market's not pushing it on. You know, again, price acceptance possibly underneath this area. Wait for the market to tell you it wants to move to the downside with a bit of volume, with that catalyst. And yeah, I wouldn't mind that. But it is counter trend. It is counter trend. FTMO plays with your mindset. Yeah, I was doing a workshop on the website this morning. I do a Friday morning workshop every Friday on like the trader's road path to success. And the FTMO, what I consider 3 stages of trading is, number 1 is your learning phase. Number 2 is your getting funded. And again, this is just my personal ethos. Number 2 is getting funded. And number 3 is making money. Okay, but if we put that into a range, your first stage is kind of like this. So this is where your learning stage comes in, where you're back testing, you're finding your edge, learning how to trade essentially. This is what I think is your funded section, so it gets a little bit easier. And then this is your money section. Because once you're at this point and you've got this, you've done this, this actually relatively becomes easy. But this is by far the hardest point. So this is where you need to find your edge. You guys know, watching me, I do the same thing day in, day out, day in, day out. I know my stats. I know my average drawdown. I know I'm going to beat the SPX and you know, probably get somewhere around that 10 to 40. I'd like a little bit more, 20 or something a year. And I wish it was as easy as some rich sugar daddy Arab goes and says, right, Ryan, here's $1 million. Go and trade for me. Because if someone plonked $1 million in my account, I'd be like, all right, I know I'm going to get probably roughly around this for you. But you know, unfortunately, the world doesn't work like that. And then this is where this funded equity comes in. That is slightly different from trading, which is very difficult. So, yeah, FTMO is difficult. FTMO is difficult. Hopefully, I get a trade which helps me a little bit. You know, a Swiss yen or something. But who knows, huh? Who knows? Made 4K. Oh, good man, Allah. Good week. I'm at break even. I'm at BE like always. Oh, you're break even back. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. Anyway, break even. Don't be mad about a break even trader. That's you're still better than probably 95% as long as you make it consistent. That's all it's about. Consistency. Consistency. And you have that. You have your plan. You know you have your edge. You'll make money. You'll make money, essentially. All right, guys. I've bagged on for about 50 minutes. That's probably about 30 minutes more than I usually do. If you haven't liked the video, make sure you like the video. If you want to try our 7-day free trial, I think there's a links down below or potentially links in there. I'm not sure if it still works, but hopefully it works. If not, then you can sign in via the website. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you all on Monday. Trade, guys. Trade safe. Peace.